You did run a race or two for Spire after you finally quit, right?
You
finished,
text me.
Yeah, you finished 8th at Daytona. Was that the final one? And you said to me, it's harder than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, I had sort of had this, and I was having the same experience a little bit trying to run some Xfinity races. And the Xfinity races, while it's fun to run good, you expect to run good, you put too much pressure on yourself. And you do have those miserable moments that you remember. It reminds me of all the reasons why I loved it, but also why I don't do it full time, right? And I wonder, in those brief moments that you did run a race or two at the after your career was done full time, was that helpful? Was it helpful to
100%
help you walk away?
100%.
Yeah.
I kind of joked around about the story of running a cup car for the first time and going down the backstretch and feeling the acceleration. When I went back, and I don't remember if it was the first or second year run the Daytona 500. When I went back, I remember leaving the pits, getting about halfway down the backstretch all by myself, just going out to run some laps, make sure the splitter's not going to hit the ground. And I'm probably only going 160, and I was like, man, I'm going really fast right now. This feels really fast. And I know that when I raced, I don't think it ever felt fast, right? I mean, maybe at Bristol or somewhere, you're like, ooh, going pretty quick today. But for the most part, Daytona and Talladega, it didn't feel fast. You just left the pits and you kind of did your thing. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. In my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And then you run a few laps and I got around a couple of cars and I'm like, okay, I'm more comfortable now. Now, I would say the scary part of all that is that when I got in the draft and I got around people, I was a little scared. I didn't care. And I don't know if that's good or bad. And I say that in that I was pushing people and I was loose and I'm like, good God, I about spun out. But I'm like, I don't care because I want to win. And that kind of scared me in a way because I think to be successful, it has to be that way. But I'm like, I have a pretty good career and I'm not hurt right now. And I've had moments, Dale, that outside of the car where I'm standing up somewhere and I kind of get lightheaded and I get scared because I'm like, is that from a concussion or does Mike go through that and never had a concussion? I don't know.
You're analyzing yourself.
I'm like, I'm doctor all of a sudden, right? Yeah. And so in those moments, you think about when you're in the car, you're like, I don't think I want another one of these. So I'm good.
Yeah. Do you know if you've ever had any problems?
I've definitely had a concussion.
Right.
I mean, there's multiple times. As a matter of fact, I wrecked at Dover late in my career. Danica, I don't know if you remember this, Danica's rear end plug fell out and oil went all over the racetrack in the first lap of practice at Dover. And you're running almost, not wide open, but you're just so much throttle. And I hit her oil coming off that. Actually, she spun out, hit the wall. Tony Stewart hit it. He spun out, hit the wall. And I hit the wall. And I hit the wall where there was no safer barrier. And I remember hitting the wall and I'm like, I don't know where I am. And my car stopped, but I hit the wall kind of flush. So my car, it didn't look that tore up. And I was like, I'm not real sure where I am. And I got out of my car and I was like, boy, my arm really hurts. And I took my suit down and I had this massive knot. Actually, it was on this arm. I had this massive knot on my arm, about the size of a softball, because my elbow had hit the side of the seat. And I was like, oh, I don't know if that's broken. I don't know what's going on. But I remember in my head, because that's when they started doing those concussion protocols. I remember in my head, I'm like, I'm going to lay low in that infield care center, and I'm not going to look at anybody. And they didn't really know. They thought that I was just kind of part of the wreck. They didn't really know how to direct. And the doctor came over, and I never looked him in the eye because I was kind of cross-eyed, I'm pretty sure. And he's like, you okay? I'm like, oh, I'm fine. And I just kind of kept looking down. I was like, I got to get out of here. And he's like, all right. And that was before they did all that stuff. And so I left. And when I got on the golf cart, I remember my PR guy looked at me and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. And because he knew.
He could see.
He knew me, right? Yeah. And I walked over. I remember they were unloading the backup car because practice was still going on. And I walked up in the trailer and Matt McCall is my crew chief. And he's like, you all right? And I'm like, yeah. But I remember in my mind, I was like, I don't want to get in that car right now. Right. I know that. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's I imagine there's moments for every driver in their career where they, without the knowledge of what we didn't have the knowledge back then, and I talk about it all the time. When I had my first couple of concussions, man, you'd laugh. Yeah. I wrecked at Daytona in '98, and got dizzy and chuckled and said, "Man, I'm messed up." It was funny for some reason, which is silly.
Well, before kids.
Yeah.
Before a wife.
Yeah.
Right? Life's different.
Yeah. You
Priorities.
thought, oh, Sunday,
good.
I'll be fine.
I'm good.
This will be 2 or 3 days at most.
Yeah, I'm going to go drinking, as a matter of fact, on Tuesday.
Damn right.
Right? I mean,
that's
like,
what
that's
I
what.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple
That's
beers,
what I
I'll
need to
feel
do.
fine. Yeah.
Here's what I find interesting, though, is that like when you would come back and do those one-off races here and there, like I think that's a very real moment of feeling, as you call it, scared in the draft. But I think it's interesting that you went to Daytona to do those races, whereas Dale, you wouldn't be caught dead going back to do a restrictor plate track.
Well, that's a different. Like my career ended because of concussions, and so like I'm not going to go somewhere where the 80% chance of crashing.
That's my point. Yeah.
Right. So he chooses to go there, but he's not dealing with concussions as he's closing his
Yeah,
career
and that
out.
was the opportunities that, like,
Did they just
if they
kinda
would have
fell that
said,
way?
do you want to do the Daytona 500 or do you want to do Martinsville? I would have chose Martinsville.
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Or like a road course.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Safer.
Yeah.
It feels
well,
safer, right?
I just enjoy that more than.
I got you.
Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I mean, it would have, the thing that's enticing about the Daytona 500 is the Daytona 500, right? I mean, like, and being able
That's
to win,
fair.
that's a huge deal versus winning, at any other track, really. It just doesn't have the same meaning.
I think that's
Yeah.
a good point, though. You didn't actually get to like go pick
I
and
wasn't
choose.
like, hey, I want to go run that race.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. Right. That's
Yeah.
just kind of how the situation
Yeah,
fell.
and in all fairness, when I flipped at Talladega, my last year, I remember in the race, I'm like, I'm never ever gonna get in a super speedway car again. I mean, like I said it the whole race, man, there's zero chance.
Don't all you guys go through that? I mean, like at the restrictor plate tracks, it seems like once you've now gone through one of those nasty wrecks, and if you do it long enough, you get in it, right?
Yeah.
Because Dale, I remember the one time you were like, "This is not even cool. I don't enjoy this."
No, yeah.
And
Restrictor plate racing changed a lot, though.
100%.
So it changed.
100%.
I felt like in 2001, 2004, 2007, I could control my destiny. And as time went on, I lost less control. It was more about, there was just more there's more potential for crashing. It just continuously.
Well, you could reckon the lead now. There's
Yeah.
a difference. Like I don't feel like that was.
Yeah.
That wasn't as common. At least
I
back
knew where to
then.
go to be safe before. Now I'm not sure where
no-
you go to be
there's
safe.
nowhere to go.
Yeah, nowhere safe.
there's nowhere to go,
Yeah.
right?
Nowhere. Yeah.
So, how you're 47, all right? Still in great shape, obviously, which we'll talk about for a second. But you started biking, running, marathons, and doing all kinds of wild, crazy things.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you went head first into your health. You did. Yeah. And you're in amazing shape. So, do you ever think, man, I'd do X if the opportunity presented itself? Like that a one-off somewhere in a bush car or a truck, or do you miss? Like for me, it was like, man, I had to go back and drive late models again because I wanted to experience it because it was like 30 years ago, and I'm like, that was pretty fun, but I was so scared and nervous, I really didn't have fun. So I wanted to go back and try it to see if it was really as fun as I thought it should be. Yeah.
And he's scared and nervous.
But I'm still scared and nervous. But
I appreciate your honesty and all that because I've listened to some of those comments, and I think most people at the late model races is like, well, he's not gonna be nervous, but we're all scared of failure.
I don't want to be embarrassed.
We're all scared of that,
Yeah.
no matter what, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would totally go back and do that, but probably not for the reason you think. I would go back and do it for my son because
So he could see you compete.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, man, that is probably the 50 to 60% of the reason why I run the Xfinity races. And I really was doing it for myself until I took my girls. And then I was like, oh, man, I got to keep doing this because she doesn't
so they remember.
Yeah. She doesn't get it. She doesn't know I'm out there because she's like, okay, hey, Dad, yeah, race car, Dad. And then the race starts and she's looking at Amy going, well, where's Dad? Well, he's in the car. Well, where's he at? She doesn't know there are people in there, right?
I know.
And so she's now 5 and she gets it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, got to run another one. I got to run another one, right?
Well, I had a team call me a few months ago about a really good team.
Dang.
About running the Daytona 500 again. And I was like, ugh. I'm like, ugh. And my son's like, you got to do it, Dad. And I'm like, Carter, like, somebody to your question, I'm like, I want him to call for the Roval or for for like I don't know, just the Coke 600 even, right? Something like that, because I would like to go do it, but I'm like, I don't want to do a super speedway again. I'm like, I think that time has passed.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm with you
I
on
don't
that.
blame you, man.
My vision scares me a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like I see you have glasses on, and I wear glasses quite a bit now because I can't see up close or far away.
Oh.
And I contemplate, like,
You
could I see? You
don't
know?
wear contacts?
I've never tried.
Me neither.
Mm-hmm.
So your far away vision is not correctable?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They gave me progressive glasses,
Yep.
and I didn't even know. I didn't know I needed them until we were driving down the interstate, and my wife, like, we're driving to Charleston, and she's like, "Oh, we're 122 miles away," and I said, "Well, how do you know that?" And she's like, "Well, the sign says it," and I'm like, "What sign?" And she's like, "That," and about 10 seconds later, I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "We are," and so I went and got my eyes checked, and sure enough, it sucks.
I can't see anything past the gauge. I can't see anything from the windshield in. So like outside looks great. I can see a quarter laying on the track,
which is way better.
But like looking at my little A-post mirror, it's blurry. I could see there's a car, but it's just blurry.
You couldn't see the bike behind you. Do you wear your glasses?
Nope.
So your glasses are for up close.
Up close, like from me.
But can you see through those glasses distance? Like when you look across.
So my corrective's just in the reader side.
So you just look at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So at the top, it's pretty much straight on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little blurry, but
yeah,
I can see pretty good. And so, but when I take the glasses off to race, they're like, "Hey, what's the gauges?"
Who cares? It's not red, right?
Not a clue.
I feel like I just want to give you both eye exams right now. Just to
I'm like,
see.
I never. I spent 20 years never looking at them. Now you're asking me to read them.
That's
I would get in cars. I mean, I've been racing cars for 6 months, the same car, right, and still not know which one was the water gauge. Where's the water gauge at? They ask you for the water gauge, water temperature.
Which one?
Which one is that?